Dude,
Boom!
thank you for putting that together because I missed the OG Dynamite intro with the sprayed chalk or
Yeah.
almost like fireworks stuff. That's cool, man. I like that. Let's keep something like that for the intro. I like it because that was one of the first Dynamite download logos I made was with Moxley going like this and like the spray, what would you call that? I guess it's like
It's
colored.
like a chalk pyro kind of thing. I know it's weird for me to look up. I had to look up color rainbow smoke,
Yeah,
confetti.
there you go.
It's
Colored
actually your
rainbow
favorite
smoke
word.
confetti.
It's confetti.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We know the countdown to Double or Nothing is on TV right now, and we're going to do our special show Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard for our prediction shows, filling out our bingo cards. We thank you all for joining us. 4 hours of AEW television in the last 24 hours. A lot has happened, and the card for Double or Nothing is definitely shaping up and pretty much fully shaped up. However,
Yeah.
we won't talk too much about the card itself, but we'll talk about really what led into the final push to Double or Nothing, kind of in typical AEW fashion, almost waiting to the last minute to really shape out the card. But I loved the way Dynamite really played into this pay-per-view. It definitely felt very go-home style and kind of out of characteristic for AEW to only have 3 matches
Yeah.
on Dynamite. And how did you feel overall that show went, like,
Oh
as
my,
we are now full throttle to Double or Nothing Sunday?
I felt the same way as you. I'm looking at like what there's only 3 matches, and of course I'm thinking they're gonna pull a WWE or something where another match gets called, like like I want to take you on right here, right now, kind of thing. But they used it to really build up the pay per view. Not only that, but I tweeted about this. I said that Tony Khan was like, what, go home show? Nah, the pay per view begins tonight. That
Right.
trios match we're going to talk about. That trios match was a pay per view level match. Insane.
Right.
So many great spots. I'm glad they actually gave some time for Hanger and Osprey to get that going, to build it up even more, make it worthy of the main event. There's so much. I thought that this was very methodical, and like going in, I wasn't sure why they only had 3 matches, but coming out of it, man, it was one of the best Dynamites I've watched in a while, and that says a lot because they've been on such a tear. I'm loving Dynamite in these last several weeks.
Yeah, me too. Really, really been pushing full throttle. And as I said last week and have before, like, we didn't get Osprey's music to start, but he usually starts the show, and I think that is a crystal ball what we're going to see. But as the build for that event, or excuse me, the match, the finals, the Owen Cup tournament, has been going, we have been like the announcer team saying it's a coin flip, and it really is. Like, there's really, I can't remember the last time where I've been really this split on a match. Both for my passion, my heart, and my brain, and my booking. So it's like, selfishly, I want both guys to win for many reasons of my booking brain. Selfishly, I want both guys to win because of my heart, for the promos they've been cut. And so it's like, this is definitely tearing with my emotions on that. Since Collision just ended, we will show the updated rankings as the final event is this Sunday, Double or Nothing. I will show how the standings are as Mindrunner is tallying them up live right now as well. But kicking off Dynamite, like you said, given the time, Osprey and Hangman. Wow. Some of the best promo work we have seen. I mean, if we were to have our end of the year awards for Dynamite Download, this could definitely be a finalist for promo of the year, or between both guys. I mean, talk about giving the heart, the soul, the love of AEW, man. Oof. I just love how Osprey is kind of getting us all back on the Hangman bandwagon in the sense of showing who he truly was and is. And Hangman is finally being vulnerable and not just being just this, reckless cowboy, but he's actually, breaking the walls down. And so a lot to digest in this one, man. I'm just like, wow. it was deep, real deep.
Real deep. And yeah, I love what you said. There was a lot that Will Ospreay was doing to get Hanger over. Now, granted, this is the best kind of promo. You've got essentially two baby faces. Hanger has really made that turn again. You know, there's two converging storylines, and that's what makes this great. Is there's two converging storylines, and both you want to play out, but you're like the only one can play out, and it is like a pick me. But I do love that these are the two, the present and the future of AEW. Also, Swerve and others too. But like
Yeah.
we are now seeing 5 years ago, the Hanger from 5 years ago that was going to be the future of AEW is now here, and Will Ospreay is here, and this was two of the best in AEW, cutting a tremendous, heartfelt, genuine promo. They played well off each other. The beer gimmick was great, and Hanger's first refusal to drink with him, you know, because he's got some tender battle scars there from the whole Swerve thing. You know, the way they played off each other was phenomenal. The I don't want this, I need this. For you, it's just a professional thing. For me, it's personal. Like, they played so well off of each other. I thought it was incredible. You'll have to wait till Saturday night to hear who I picked to win, because at this point I don't know.
I'm with you. I really don't know, man. I thought, like, talk about building up a match to a T, and way better than I expected. And I'm so glad that this is. And I loved how Ospreay was like, I don't want to follow wrestling after 3 hours. I don't want to follow Anarchy in the Arena and all this stuff. But this needs to be the main event, because it puts it into perspective. You know, honestly, like when the Owen Hart Cup Foundation tournament was first announced, I was just like, okay, it is what it is. You know, it's great cause and great, you know, visibility for the foundation, and I love tournament wrestling. I think it's a lot of fun. It has more purpose. But now that they're adding this stipulation to main event, the quote unquote WrestleMania of AEW, in the grandest stage of them all, and having them, you know, this match being the main event of a pay-per-view too, is really smart. I think they're putting really that much more importance on the tournament, as well as that much more importance on the men's world title for All In.
It truly, you know, to quote Ospreay's theme music, it elevates the whole situation, putting this as the main event. Since there isn't an actual main title match, this is essentially the main title match, because essentially we're supposed to believe, and it may not happen, but we're led to believe whoever wins this is going to be the one chosen to dethrone Moxley and save the title from the Death Riders. Granted, some people think Darby's going to be the one later on. Who knows? Whatever. That's for another time. But that's what makes this match worthy of main event, because this is essentially the future champion, whoever wins this. And I'm here for it. And I love the promos, and this shot right here.
Everything shot about this segment was so well done, where there's another shot where they are, you know, leaving the ring side by side. Then this one as well, in front of their faces, in front of the graphic with the cup in the middle. Like, I feel like everything was paced so well and shot so well. And, you know, I love the story of the redemption versus the ascension. You know, the way that they're playing into that is just so clever, making it so much more important. And I know we kind of predicted our tournament brackets, but I didn't predict it to be this exciting of a finale and finals.
Super intense. Loving it. You'll have to wait till Saturday night, but good Lord, this is going to be awesome. And it's going to be, I mean, and like you said, you don't want to be the match that follows Anarchy in the Arena unless you're going to steal the show. The last thing we're going to see is whoever gets this win, and we're probably going to see a little bit of a confrontation between both of them. And remember what Will Ospreay said: whichever one of us wins, I hope the other person has their back. So
true,
it ain't over,
right?
But then,
All-Star Trios match, first match of the night. Man, when this one was first announced, I was quite surprised. I was like, "Wait, is this graphics real? It's not someone making this graphic up."
Fantasy.
But talk about production and segue. You know, they did that talking about the main event, and then they show Moxley outside segueing to him, and then into this match. I was like, "Wow, what a great segue that they were doing." But the back and forth, this just everything about the
Poetry.
involved with this night on Dynamite, with this match, and then what happened at the end, just really final stamp of approval. Like Anarchy in the Arena is going to be absolute chaos and absolutely amazing with all the star talent. Like, you know, they've been doing AEW's kind of been doing that the last few weeks of the. I hate to even use this word of like the overbooking of like, oh, then someone else's music hit, then another music hit, then another one's music hit, and like I'm like, but I'm loving it. I'm
Yeah,
loving it as
it's
much as like
anarchy.
over the top as it is. Like, oh, here comes Willow's music, here comes Kenny's music, here comes this person's music, and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. It's so fun to me, even though it could be considered overbooking. I'm like, no, I'm here for it
I
all
think it's
day.
overbooking if it happens all the time.
Yeah.
But because this was set and like Chef's Kiss setting up, this is how you set up an Anarchy in the Arena
Oh, for
match with
sure.
this. Just the first of all, just the trios match itself, and then everybody coming out the aftermath at the end. But good God, was this an awesome match? It had everything. Everybody came to work today. Everybody was here doing insane, crazy, creative stuff. The double note from Samoa Joe and Swerve, the all the different spots. The Bucks always come up with new and unique stuff. In fact, it was funny because it almost seemed like Moxley was having a hard time keeping up, but then he was doing cool stuff with the Bucks. Like they were all working together. Samoa Joe was killing it. Hobbs went on this spine buster tornado of just everybody he was like Oprah handing out spine busters. You get a spine buster, you get a spine buster. It was insane. And then Swerve, my God, Swerve with the stomps and the double stomp, and he's flipping and he's doing that like he's just this was everything and more. This is exactly how you get somebody excited about Anarchy in the Arena. Deb and I were flipping out. I don't smoke, but I needed a cigarette after this match because it was post-coital. It was such an incredible match. Everybody came to work. The freaking frog splash from Hobbs. I'm loving all this stuff. Just it and everybody was fantastic. I cannot just go watch this match. If you're a wrestling fan, watch this match. It's
You're gonna
fantastic.
need to hit a pause break and smoke a whole pack after Anarchy in the Arena. I think after this one. But man, there's a couple. Obviously, you touched on a lot of those heavy duty standout moments, and in a star-studded trios all-star match. You know, we both were pretty much lockstep of Swerve being really the key standout in this, which I feel like needed to be in a sense of just he needs to continue to separate himself, you know, the men from the boys of him being just one of the leader of the pack and the most dangerous guy in AEW. But I loved some of the spots where Moxley was almost just standing back and watching the Bucks work. Like he was all like, oh, okay. He's kind of thinking like, I made a right decision of shaking their, you know, like having them on my team for this match, and I guess we can coexist because we want to have similar enemies. But man, the founding fathers of AEW just consistently
It's true.
That's true. You're right. The founding fathers of AEW, man, are just so fun to watch, so innovative. I just love seeing them on TV every single week. Like you said, like you never know what you're going to get out of their intro, their gear, their move sets, their new move sets, their chemistry with people in the ring. It's just like limitless stardom and possibilities with the Young Bucks, man. And it's going to be a wild ride on Sunday with them.
I love that the Bucks reminded everyone who they were. Yes, they're heels. Yes, they're the EVPs, the founding fathers. They're supposed to be scumbags, but they still remind us that they're the Young Bucks, and they did Young Bucks things, and they shown. And Powerhouse Hobbs was Powerhouse Hobbs, but he was doing cool stuff. Samoa Joe, and he was going above and beyond his stuff. But like you said, like we both talked about before the show, everybody stood out. Everybody, like, it was like everybody was standing out. Everybody was an A game, A plus standout. But to stand out among the standouts, I felt like Swerve was the standout among the standouts. I thought he was, but again, that doesn't take away from anything else. Absolutely, my better half is correct. Iron sharpens iron. This was such a tremendous match to watch, and yes, it was just like you said, it was a standout.
One of 3 matches of the night, and you quickly forget that it is only 3 matches when you have such a quality, high entertaining match like this on opening the show in terms of wrestling. Very, very impressive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is aftermath later at the end of the show, which it's kind of cheesy. Oh, well, they're not going to attack us, and then we also forgot to mention the return of Shibata. So the True Trios group is reunited in fashion. So, and we were texting like, oh, why was Gabe Kidd in this, cage match involved in this? And all of a sudden, boom, he shows up at the end of the show to kind of lay waste and be the odd man out in terms of, or outnumbering the team AEW versus team Death Riders, as we saw them go through the tables at the end of the night. So team Death Riders and EVP stood tall, but will that be the same case come Sunday at Double or Nothing? There is potential, as we discussed a few weeks ago, of returns that we could see happening. We'll save that for Saturday night at 10 on our prediction show, but I still stand
That's right,
by
partner. We're going to talk about that, partner.
I think I'm expecting a couple returns, but I would love to see 4 returns. I would like to see 4 returns in my booking, but I'll reveal those 4. Maybe you all can guess them and kind of assume where I'm going, but would love to see that happen in Double or Nothing to really shake up everything on the road to All In, which, might I add, is 51 days away.
51. We got to get that counter going.
Yeah.
51 days. Yeehaw! We heard people. We heard people. We heard people. So, all right. I still have no idea where this is going, but I am so intrigued. Now, I've had to dismiss our wonderful theory about Wardlow, even though it could still happen. I'm probably at 30% now, where I was 90%. But this is something's definitely going sideways with this whole Hurt Business and MJF, but I can't tell who's playing who. I can't tell if MJF is playing them or they're playing MJF. Is Bobby going to turn? Is MJF got something in his sleeve? Mark Sterling's involved. I mean, it's incredible. Did like the little interaction between MJF and his squeeze a toot, telling her to kick rocks there, candy ass or whatever, and and she got all huff offended. And if you ever saw the two of them on the Indies, they actually interacted a lot on the Indies together, and he would always harass her. So I guess it's meant to be. MJF being pure gold, literally, ripping up signs and being obnoxious. But I don't know, man. I think MJF's playing 4D chess, but it's possible MVP is playing 5D chess. So what did you think of this? And
if MVP has something up his sleeve, I'm not seeing the confidence he's exuding that he used to exude weeks ago. I feel like MJF, anytime there's a contract involved, he's going to slide in the little disclaimer and the little fine print and something. And, like I mentioned last week, he's, 51% stake share in the Hurt Syndicate, and they're going to have to fight their way out of the contract or some shenanigans like that. So, I don't trust him at all. And I definitely feel like MJF is using them to catapult him in some way or another.
Yeah.
I don't see the benefit of Hurt Syndicate using MJF. And so, the 3 of them don't need him. He needs them. So he's definitely trying to be this obnoxious person for them to try to appreciate anything that he may give. I think yes, we'll see something at Double or Nothing. Obviously has to be involved MJF, whether it be to help them win and then he goes, has a
Yeah.
match against Sammy or a match against Dustin or whatever it may be, or maybe they do some bizarre thing like challenge them to the Ring of Honor titles, and MJF and Bobby are the champs for Ring of Honor as well, or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't know. There's going to be something going on further with, I feel like, the Sons of Texas with MJF after Double or Nothing, but leading into what's in store for All In, I don't know, man. I really
Yeah.
want to see MJF versus someone. I want this to maybe at All In you'll see it implode, because they've really been slow building this and slow playing this.
Yep. Rumors are still that Cedric Alexander is going to show up because he is a free agent. But I hope I as much as I like Cedric, I feel like that's retread. I think they need to bring, if they are going to bring somebody, they need to bring somebody new. They may go legit with MJF, which could be interesting. I also thought it was interesting that the Hurt Syndicate was kind of getting booed in New Mexico. Like, it was kind of like, usually they're getting cheered and everybody, we hurt people, and there were some of that, but the crowd was a little against this whole thing. But we're gonna find out. We're gonna see what happens. Also, speaking of heels that you just love to hate, my man Ricochet is the top heel in AEW right now, and he's, to me, I think he's the top heel in wrestling. I challenge you to tell me somebody that is now, even more than Don Callis at this point, he is the top heel.
Right. Definitely. And I think they should have played this up maybe even a little bit more in advance than kind of last minute. The Scissor King versus the Scissor God, whatever, Ricochet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like that aspect of the versus people, because he's been using the scissors, Ricochet, for a while as his weapon of choice.
Yeah.
And Bowens has been the Scissor King for a while as well, for years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Ricochet, man, what a victory steal in typical fashion of him. I like the way this man, like, he's being featured every single week, and it's so great. And I'm really curious of this stretcher match. It was kind of out of the blue, but I'm like, I love the chemistry that Briscoe and Ricochet have. But the 5-tool player, Anthony Bowens, I think I'm curious, like, how can you get him over even more? You're trying to put him against the number one heel and get him over. Crowd was behind him a while, but I feel like he needs still something to really catapult him into more babyface. Like, the whole pop with Max Caster Open Challenge was great, the great return, but I feel like he needs some kind of little bit more resurgence right now if they're going to push him as a heavy babyface. And how they do that, I'm not sure.
I agree. I'm struggling to really get into behind the 5-tool player thing. And maybe that's just like, baseball fans are eating it up, but I just, first of all, 5-tool player, you don't want to put tool in your moniker, I mean, unless you're a heel. And I understand the significance behind it with his baseball past and stuff, but I'd rather him have just stayed Anthony Bowens like he was, with the scissors and stuff, in the pink and whatnot, and just continue to go that route. I also would have liked to see him pick up a bunch of W's, even over some challenging scalps here, and then before going after Ricochet. Granted, Ricochet cheated, and maybe this is a beginning of a feud that we could continue to see. I want to root for Anthony Bowens. I want him to be successful, but it's just not clicking for me. Something's not clicking with me and Anthony Bowens, and I can't put my finger on it. I think I missed the Acclaim. I really I thought that was lightning in a bottle, and I don't understand why that fell apart.
I would love a redemption and a reunion with the Acclaim. That would be great. I agree. Those true tag teams, the Guns, the Acclaimed, FTR, potentially a new tag team forming at Double or Nothing or beyond for something at All In. We'll see, involving versus FTR. But here we go. Yeah. And, hot off the press, the women's tag teams titles that have been long rumored are feel like a little bit closer and closer to fruition, man. And I hope so. I think
I
we're
hope
almost
so
there.
too. I hope so too. I read this. I read this as almost Tony being politely dismissive, like because he was asked about the women's tag team titles yet again, and his response was kind of, "Well, I would like to do that. I've been focused on putting the best shows that he can." And to me, that's kind of like saying, "Well, women's tag team belts wouldn't be the best shows," or I don't understand why he said it that way. And then saying he's been focused on building back the men's tag team division, working around injuries. I, I I love Tony Khan. I love what he's done for wrestling. AEW has brought me back as a fan. Blah blah blah. It's excellent. Yay! I mean, it makes me passionate. I'm confused because I don't think it's been the injuries that have held back the men's tag team division. I think it's the lack of booking, and I think that it's there was like you bring in the Gun Club, and then they're gone. You bring in you just it's like we are just feeding people to the Hurt Syndicate. Now, granted, the Hurt Syndicate need to be dominant, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like this is the first time that even the Hurt Syndicate having the tag titles, it really felt relevant in a long time. I don't get it. I feel like it's a booking issue, not a um working around injuries issue. And I feel like it's to paraphrase Field of Dreams. If you build the belts, they will come. If you book women's tag team titles and you put a focus on you help people like it, it's people are going to be into it. It's about booking, not about oh gosh, I hope people like the tag team now. No, you book it that way.
I think first you need to do things like we're getting at the buy-in. We're getting a tag match, TNA versus Bane and Ford. You
Mm-hmm.
start to actually book tag matches first to gain the interest and gain the momentum versus be like, surprise, here's the tag belts tournament,
Yep.
So I think you first need to book a tag division beltless to get
Yeah.
the momentum, put the fishing lure out there for it versus just like
Yep.
going all in right away. So,
Makes sense.
Double or Nothing's that step one because we haven't really had tag matches in a while for the women's division. So I think that's step
That
one.
that is true, except some of the best tag teams were put together. I mean, in that tournament, in that lottery tournament, and you could do that. But there's been some like you've got Julia Hart's back with Sky Blue. You've got all these teams; they're ready to go. I say pull the trigger.
Yeah,
Um,
and who knows what's going to happen with Stat and Willow? They're
yep,
tiff and tatting. Maybe they join forces again in redemption in a tag team style tournament after
absolutely.
Double or Nothing. Face to face of the other bracket of the Owen Cup tournament, the women's side, Mercedes Moné and Jamie Hayter. And honestly, over the last few weeks, this build has been fantastic in my opinion as well. I Not as much as the men's, but this one I go both ways. I really am, and I'm thinking just the way they've been building it with Jamie's kind of underdog and redemption story for her, and then this is almost a redemption versus Ascension Junior in
Yeah,
a sense for that as well, because Hayter, former champ, and Mercedes is on her ascension to get the ultimate prize in the women's division. So I think this is a very similar parallel story, but not as good as a build as the men's side. However, like I seriously could see both women winning this match as well at Double or Nothing,
my
based on their
yeah.
promo work and their way they built this match.
This is one of those where like with Hanger and Osprey, I'm split down the middle. My heart's split, my brain is split, and my gut is split. Here, my heart wants Hater to win. I also want Athena to be involved or to eventually I want more Athena versus Mercedes, and ultimately at All In, I want Athena versus Mercedes title for title. But my brain and my gut are saying that the story here is they want All In to be, like we said earlier, it's the WrestleMania of AEW. All In, they want Tony Storm versus Mercedes Moné. And
I mean, put that on a marquee. That is
yeah,
definitely very appealing.
yep. I think that's what they're going to do. And so, I'm kind of tipping my hat about who I think is going to win. But I agree. This has been kind of that redemption versus ascension. I just, I don't quite see as much as the fighting. I don't see, Jamie Hayter as passionate about it and I felt like she almost degraded herself a little bit in this promo where she should have been like, listen, bitch, I'm gonna kick your ass, and she
Yeah.
kind of did. But yeah, I'm not as jazzed, but I mean, that's like it's still it's gonna be an awesome match, and we'll see.
Right. From that to the women's match of the night
Yes, and
was a lot going on. I speaking of segues, I'm just thinking out this out loud as you're going through these slides that you had that awesome promo for the men's side, segued straight into Moxley, the champion, into his match, and then this segued straight into Tony Storm coming out on
yep,
commentary. So it's like such a clever idea of the quick segue from one thing to the next, focusing on
love that
the
flow.
the champ, what's at stake, and the way this flew. So Mina versus Julia for the main event there, which was, like I said, surprised that it was only 3 matches on Dynamite, but quality stuff in terms of booking, quality stuff in terms of the build of the show. That's what you got to do. You have to really build a pay-per-view to sell pay-per-views, and it really touched on a lot of things on the whole show. But the big story here was, I feel like, other than the match, which wasn't like didn't steal the show by any means, but I loved everything after the match. Like, that was my most important
Yeah.
thing, and what we got out of that, with everything from the Sky Blue to Mina attacking Tony and getting her in that figure four and potentially injuring her knee on the side of the ring. So that's what stands out to me the most, was the aftermatch shenanigans, in my opinion. But how did you feel about the match?
I thought the match was great. I loved Julia's metamorphosis as a wrestler, and as much as the eye candy was great in Julia's old gear, I kind of dig this Jeff Hardy kind of gear she's got going now.
I do like her gear.
It's a little more, I know the baggy shorts versus the whatever she had before, the lingerie, but it's like I kind of like this, and she's kind of growing on me as more of a. I almost feel like it makes her a little bit more of a threat in this new gear, and of course, Sky Blue returning. I'd love to see the two of them in matching gear, red and blue. And again, going back to tag teams, I mean, right there, that's you got the tag team right there. But I thought Mina was great. I think she's gonna continue to be a welcome addition to the AEW roster. The whole thing with her and Tony is great. Tony on commentary. I love how she breaks everybody on the rest of the panel, like Excalibur and Taz and everybody. They just can't talk and when she's on there. And
Oh yeah, she's a loose cannon.
She definitely is a loose cannon. So I think this is all good. I am excited to see. Bobby had a great point. I'm thinking the same thing. Do we see Mariah May return at Double or Nothing and get involved with Mina and Tony? And there's another tag team. Mina and Mariah could return with Club Venus. So could be.
Yeah. I guess not to spoil too much of our show Saturday, but like, what element would you want to see Mariah involved in? Like, I don't want them to circle back with Tony.
Mm-mm.
Where would you want to see her get thrown into the mix?
I if Mariah May does return, they're going to have to address the Tony Storm thing, but I would almost rather her feud with Mina Shirakawa.
Right.
Then have Julia Hart and Sky Blue mess with both of them, and so they're forced to reunite. and become a tag team and kind of basically Mariah and Mina feud with Sky Blue, like reluctantly at first, but they rekindle their friendship and they take on Sky Blue and Julia Hart. And I think that's the way to go. And that's the way to you acknowledge the past with Tony, but then now that Tony's going to focus on her new opponent at All In,
right.
you drive the Mariah and Mina storyline, and you first make them enemies still, but then you slowly build this path of redemption, kind of like what I think they're trying to do with Christian. I think they're slowly, because they got to wait for Adam to return, but they're slowly setting a face turn, a redemption arc for Christian, so that when it's finally Cope and Christian, it's believable. And I think that's what I'd like to see with the two of them.
So I got an idea. So, after we got a lot of stuff cooking, Double or Nothing preview show Saturday night at 10, and that will conclude whomever wins the draft, a victory lap, the next Dynamite download show following Double or Nothing. But then we got to get our next draft set in stone for our next season. So we'll talk about that. We'll announce the draft next season. We'll get the feelers out this Saturday. So my runner and I will talk through a few dates. And excuse me. I'm allergic to the Hurricanes losing right now.
Oh, I was going to say allergic to winning the draft.
Yeah, right. We'll talk through some dates. We'll go through it. We'll mention some and see if everyone is okay with that. We'll try to get everyone in lockstep with a show date and time. But we will, thank you, Courtney. We will, and Bobby, we will announce some ideas on Saturday. But one other idea I want to do is possibly next Dynamite Download next week, we fantasy book a women's tag team tournament.
Yes.
So let's create an 8-team tournament, and we'll announce the bracket next week between you and I, Mind Runner. We'll kind of make some fantasy brackets, and then every week we'll progress it till we announce a winner of the inaugural women's tag team. So next week we'll announce the bracket of 8 teams we want to see. Then we'll slowly narrow it down, and then we'll fantasy book that to make the inaugural tag team women's champions. How about that?
Yeah. And tell us your ideas. What tag teams would you like to see in this tournament? Comment on this video, or you tag us on Instagram, Dynamite Download, or on Twitter X, whatever we're calling it. Let us know what tag teams you'd like to see, or in the chat if you're here live with us right now.
Yeah, like Bobby said, Mina and Mariah, Sky Blue, Julia Hart, Thunder Tits. We got
Thunder Tits.
Like we said earlier, like could see the Willow and Stat reunion. So a lot of possibilities in what we're seeing this weekend at the buy-in. Bain and Ford, TNA. So right then and there, that is almost shaping out the whole tournament right there. I think that's 6 teams we might have mentioned. So those ones are all looking good. Now, top performers of Dynamite. We have a unanimous decision here for this one with Swerve. Whose house? Swerve's house is our top performer on Dynamite last night. Just as we touched on earlier, incredible work that the guys did on the show. Just, coaching and really like leading by example during that match, and was just incredible stuff with Swerve, man. I mean, loved his performance last night, everything about it on Dynamite.
And I think that just to clarify, we did this already, but just to clarify, everybody, that this isn't like he was the only one that stood out. He just was among all of the standouts.
Right.
On an incredible show. He was the top performer, the top standout, the standout of standouts. So there you go. Absolutely. And then just if you didn't have enough wrestling last night, we had ourselves a collision. And once again, Toni Storm continues to prove why she is just the best character in all of professional wrestling now.
Incredible.
I mean, and when we're in decades from now, when we're at the old folks home, get British beefcake lapa dances. By God, we've lived. I hope she stays this character for like 50 years. It's fantastic. The man from Nantucket. Yes, the man from Nantucket. Thank you, Courtney. Fantastic.
Oh, so great.
So kicking off the show, the youngest men alive with Bandito taking on Callis family. And I again, you going back to the tag teams, you have a tag team that's ready to go to the moon with the
Right.
Outlanders. And all
Best
Tony
shades in the biz.
exactly best. I feel like, I don't know if they're your distant cousins, SPD, the Outrunners. We have to do a DNA test. Maybe they're on Ancestry. You can find them. I thought that this was great. Of course, the Callis family, continuing to look dominant in this, leading up, and I kind of like now since Best Friends is done, I kind of like this edgier Roppongi Vice or RPG.
Right.
I guess they're going by. I like this Roppongi Vice edgy. I mean, Rocky Romero is now no longer just kind of taking jobs, and Trent is always. I've always been a big Trent fan. Full Tilt Deb's a big Trent fan. Takeshita is a future champion, future world champion, and I just thought this was great. But Bandito and the Outrunners, they work so well. I mean, it is, and the flips and the crowd pops. They're such a fan favorite, and obviously, I mean, I think there was no doubt who was going to come out on top, especially when you got Lance Archer also in the mix. But yeah, I think this was great, and yeah, this is the kind of wrestling I love to see.
The Callis family is quickly becoming the Collision Callis family. Collision is becoming the Callis family show quickly.
Yes.
So how could I word this with the C's? The Collision Callis Cowboy. I don't want to say Cowboys again, but they're quickly running this show like they did tonight with this match kicking it off with Fletcher, with Josh Alexander. Like they have been featured all over up and down Collision. Granted, he's got a big family. For the last few weeks, and it's great to see. And so, I was kind of shocked that this, sadly, selfishly, two of my guys on Team SPD lost this match with one of my Outrunners and Bandito.
Yep.
But I feel like the Callis family is definitely a great heel faction that you can just place wherever, with whomever. And we're seeing that with at Double or Nothing, trios match versus the Paragon versus the Callis family, which was announced tonight on Collision as well. But yeah, you can go to the Mercedes match, after this is a warm-up match, TBS Open Challenge match with Mercedes Moné ahead of her finale match in Double or Nothing in the desert. So this is Collision was more of got us a lot more in-ring time, even though
a lot more matches.
Time. Yeah, we had the FTR segment with Nigel McGuinness and Daddy Magic and Garcia with to open the match, and then you had throughout the stuff adding more levels to Double or Nothing. But what was your take on this one?
I love it, and Reina Isis has heard it both ways. I love that we're already, and again, this is kind of Collision. They're setting up the CMLL AEW back and forth.
Yeah,
and of course, we're going to be getting that Grand Slam in Mexico.
Yep.
CMLL AEW back and forth, and Forbidden Door and everything. The if you been kind of paying attention to the CMLL side of wrestling, they have this they have like a show. It's almost like a talk show through CMLL where they interview the wrestlers, and they have already announced who the CMLL wrestlers are going to take on at this crossover AEW CMLL event. And I'll have more of an update next week, next Thursday when we have some more time to talk about it. But several, they would show, Ricochet's taking on this guy. The coolest match we had is there's going to be a trios. It's Masca Dorada, it's Mystico, Masca Dorada, and Neon, who's another luchador, taking on the team of Commander, Bandito, and Hologram. That's a trio.
When is this?
This is gonna at their June 17th
Oh, that was announced
event.
already.
Yeah, that's gonna be insane. It's going to be insane. And look what we have. Thank you, Raz, with a super chat party.
Always coming in big.
I think I'm feeling like a stat party today. Ready? So let's go super stat party. Woo!
There it is.
There it is. Yeah, anyways, CMLL and AW, it's going to be insane. It's the flippy do shit. I love it. It's going to be great. Let's get more of that in our veins.
Heck yeah. I love the crossover. Oh yeah, Jay Lethal, just an absolute professional in the ring. I mean, I know he's not been around that much in AEW too much recently, but like anytime he gets opportunity, just like he knows his role. Like he's just like one of your infantry guys. Like he knows your role to play. And Fletcher, man, is just an absolute stud, superstar for sure. Not in the making, a superstar that's here. And I swear it was last week or the week before, and I said I would love to see Fletcher with a TNT title. And
yes,
what did we see last night? What did we see tonight? With Adam Cole, baby. I think the TNT title right now, given his landscape, is the perfect title for Fletcher to have.
Yeah,
it would be the 100% wrong decision to have Adam Cole beat Fletcher in any element right now. Fletcher needs to have a tear. He needs to go on a regain. He hasn't. I hate to say regain, but regain some more momentum of wins, and get gold around his waist, because I feel like just the presentation that he has from top to bottom, from his gear, his entrances, his being in the center of the family when they come out, everything about it, the spotlight, and then you throw the TNT title around his waist, and for him to be a featured wrestler every single week with the TNT title, like, I mean, that would do AEW so good for them. And I think every single week you could just count on him to just produce awesome match after awesome match with that TNT title. It doesn't have to be an open challenge, but he'll be, actively wanting to defend it as much as possible, and have Callis on commentary. He come out and defend the title every single week. I think that will really reestablish that title as a significant one.
Yeah, I'm here for a Callis versus Paragon feud, and I think they're kind of setting that up a little bit. And I think ultimately Kyle Fletcher dethrones Adam Cole and becomes the new TNT champion. Wouldn't that be interesting if his next challenger is Takeshita? I would love to see a Kyle Fletcher versus Takeshita feud within the Callis family, and to see where Callis puts his money. But you don't have to do that. I just know that, I just want the match. But I think you're absolutely right. Like Bobby said, the future singles champion, like you predicted, I think it's destiny for Kyle Fletcher being the next TNT champion. And I hope he customizes the belt, makes it pink. Just like his shorts. I think he should I think he needs to be the next TNT champion. I love you, Adam Cole, but dude, it's just the Paragon's not clicking for me. I think Kyle Fletcher was tremendous in this match. Now, granted, when you have a dance partner like Jay Lethal, you're gonna look good. But Kyle Fletcher is, at his young age, is still such a phenomenal standout. I love that he's now kind of this. I joke that he's Randy Orton's little brother kind of thing, but he's such a standout. He works great with everybody. We got to see him firsthand in that match with Hanger for the semifinals in Norfolk. And the way he sells, his little screams, his reactions, he's great in the ring. And I thought he was phenomenal tonight with Jay Lethal. I feel like he stole the show to now. The only other person that would rival him as my top performer would be any number of the guys wearing a mask tonight, because we're going to get to that in a second. That was tremendous. But yeah, I felt like Kyle Fletcher is a now and future star.
100%. And I like how you touched on the facials, because he can really emote and sell really good, Kyle Fletcher, as well. Like, I'm here for it. So I think if you're building this trios, that real quick, the Paragon, like, have them focus on the trios. I'm here for that. Like, I don't necessarily think they'll feud with the Ops anytime soon, but at least they can establish themselves as a trios and eventually get title shot on that. But the face-to-face kicking off Collision was I loved the heat that FTR was getting. Like, they have quickly becoming these dirty dog heels, and I felt like the crowd was really leaning into them, and wow, was Cash doing such a great job on the stick tonight. I'm talking, telling the crowd talking, and just getting boo and boo and boo. And the Garcia, I loved, is like, I couldn't even hear you, leaning into that, and then the crowd popped again. So man, is FTR really starting to get some lethal heat. And I think the build of this is a match I would have never predicted, and I'm really excited for, just because of what can come out of this. He said Garcia had a magic word in there. One of my favorite part of the promo was when Garcia was like, I'm defending Tony Schiavone. I'm defending, Adam Copeland. I'm defending Nigel McGuinness and all this stuff. And so as soon as he said Adam Copeland, I'm like, okay, all right. This is, not to spoil too much. That is one of my returns that I want to see, Double or Nothing, as well. So I think
you think you know him.
Oh gosh, could you imagine the pop that gets? After the match, Nigel and Garcia and Daddy Magic are all getting their, beat down, and all of a sudden that happens. Would be pretty epic for sure. But I did like this face-to-face. We had a lot of face-to-face and contract signings and things like that over the last 2 days, but this played its role great, especially with the heat that FTR was getting from the crowd. Loved it.
This is my mapping out for the future of the tag team division. Let FTR have this feud. Let them continue to be distracted by different feuds. Maybe Adam Copeland return, cause some drama, whatever. Continue to also build up sad and lonely Christian Cage when the patriarchy turns on him. And I think Kip Sabian should be the one to turn out to be the manipulator behind all of this, that breaks up the patriarchy, and it be this whole revenge thing. I think that would be really cool. Bring Luchasaurus back if he can. But I'd like to have FTR distracted for the next couple pay-per-views, and then FTR versus Hurt Syndicate for the tag titles. FTR wins.
Wow.
FTR becomes tag team champions, and then FTR versus Cope and Christian for the tag titles at All Out.
All Out in Toronto, Canada. Yes. Build to
Toronto,
that. Build
Canada. Yep.
The start of that build should start at Double or Nothing, and so that would allow Cope a little bit of individual revenge, and then they can build to that. I love it, man. I think that's where you really have to capitalize on that as well. Copeland was at the Toronto Maple Leafs hockey game in Toronto. Fortunately for me, because I'm not a Toronto fan, and unfortunately for him being there. So I feel like that is an opportunity for not only a tag team title championship win, but just some kind of huge moment. Could you imagine that? To me, FTR versus Christian and Copeland could main event a show.
Yeah.
Especially in Toronto.
In Toronto for the tag titles. Yes.
Because all four guys are A+ match builders. And even though it's not the world title, but it's the tag team titles, could easily main event that show.
It's in a world tag titles,
in a TLC match.
It has to be. You're absolutely right.
Gosh.
SPD, you're absolutely right. It has to be a TLC.
TLC match at All Out in Toronto.
Rewind. What if the Hurt Syndicate is the third team in that?
I don't want to see it.
Well, you want it to just be pure because
Yes,
the classic TLC,
you're right.
Edge and
You're right.
Christian, the Dudleys, and
I
the
know.
Hardys was 3 teams. They could relive it one more time.
I agree.
Hurts.
I understand the trio stuff, but I honestly would. I think selfishly, I think the meat feud, the money feud, is with the FTR turning
Yes,
on their best friend, and then their best friend kind of being looking for his old best friend to help him out to avenge his former best friends
I
with that. So the Hurt
I'm with
Syndicate,
you.
like they don't really have any history with that. And so just the personal level of that feud of them both would work best in my
They don't
opinion.
yet, but they have their titles, and I think you still make them a menacing threat. I don't
Right.
know. I let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments what you think. I see your point. I would love just the 2 teams, but I also think
TLC in
TLC,
Toronto. TLC in
uh,
Toronto for the tag team titles. A lot of
TLC
T's.
intro.
TLC in Toronto for the tag team titles. That is a lot of T's.
Let's do it. Hey, Mr. Tony Khan, sir.
Another
We've
T,
been
Tony.
we've been loyal fans. Please make TLC in Toronto for the tag titles tremendous. All right.
All right, we're zipping through.
Speaking
Got
of
a few
tag
more
teams,
segments we can hit right here before
yep,
we're wrapped for the night.
yep,
We do want to make sure we hit on the standings as well. So
yep,
tag team titles as well. Grizzled Young Vets. It was great to see them back in the ring for sure.
yep.
And another,
Underrated.
like, I don't know, like I said, back to the Paragon. Like, are they going to focus on a singles guy and a tag team? Are they going to focus on the trios? Are they going to just keep flip flopping? Like, I feel like they just need to stick with one thing right now. And
Yeah.
and hopefully it's the trios.
For one, I feel like the Grizzly Young Veterans are so underrated. I'd like to see them
Agree.
used
Yeah.
more and be a lot more
Agree.
dominant. And but I also feel like they may not. I don't think Tony Khan or they may not be 100% sure what to do with the Paragon. I think they're really still trying to get them over as the undisputed, but I feel like they're going the opposite direction. So I don't know. Something's not clicking. I felt like Kyle was more entertaining when he was with the conglomeration. I felt like Roderick was more entertaining and intriguing when he was with Taven and Bennett. And so
I
I don't know.
agree.
But this was a great match. The Grizzly Young Veterans were phenomenal. I want to see them more on our TV. Speaking of phenomenal, good Lord, AR Fox is getting his paycheck, and he is earning his paycheck every single time he steps in the ring. It is
100%.
granted,
Incredible.
it's good to see Josh Alexander get a W, but and this of course led to what you were talking about earlier about the trios match for Double or Nothing. And like you said, trios, yeah, they're going to do trios, or what are they going to do? I think we're going. This could be the beginning of setting up Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher for the TNT title, and I'm all here for it.
Oh, great stuff.
It's great stuff. And then,
Another
dude, I that I have no words. This is I want this in my veins. I want this like
anytime, yeah, I love this kind of wrestling. Like, and I'm so glad that we'll just randomly get this some of the nights, and then the crossover CMML, and like we're gonna get the Grand Slam. Like, these just it's incredible with the athleticism of some of these luchadors. It's just like mind blowing, and we saw it in this match, and obviously we saw it in the main event with the tag team and Speedball and Commander. Like, you know, we'll show our top performer of Collision shortly, but man, Commander is so incredible to watch in the ring.
yeah.
Like, I want that tag team reunited with Commander and Hologram, and I want to see them go against the Hurt Syndicate, because that would be totally two 100% polar opposite different styles, strength and performance versus agility and just different stratosphere of
But
air they can get.
if you can't have Hologram and Commander, how about Speedball Mike Bailey and Commander?
Speedball is another one of those. It's like he's when you're playing cards and you have like the wild card, the Joker or whatever, you place it wherever you want and it works. Like, obviously he's been going with Kevin Knight. He's been
Yep.
singles matching, tag teaming with whomever, trios and team match. Like you place him wherever and versus whomever, and it's working. And he's just such an agile wrestler with everything that he can do. And I'd be really curious to see him go against like a Hurt Syndicate or him go against like a Lance Archer and just see how it goes. But like,
Mhm.
I liked his match last week. The chop battle, his chest was so pink that he was hitting, but like him and Commander had some great chemistry. And of course, against two
Yeah.
grueling contestants with the LFI on the other side, really impressive stuff. And Speedball once again, man, was my top performer of the night for Collision because of just everything that he can do and emote in the ring. And yours was Kyle Fletcher. I mean, we've been praising him almost nonstop since we switched over to talking about Collision. Two really key young wrestlers in AEW that are going to be a pivotal part going into the next couple of years with AEW.
Yeah, absolutely. Hands down. I love that. I love your pick. But to me, and Kyle Fletcher was phenomenal. I mean, I could have picked anybody that was wearing a mask tonight. Could have been a top performer. Before we get to the standings, before we go into it, I just want to show. I came across this when I was gathering stuff for the slides. Check out Young Roosh.
Oh, dang. What a stud.
Now, does he not give you the model Rick Martel vibes?
What a stud. Look at that. He needs to bring that perm back.
Right? I mean, look at that. I mean, no facial chia. Look at that. He's a baby face wrestler right there. That's Young Roosh. That's little Nino Toro Blanco before he became the badass. But let's get to it without pomp and circumstance. Let's just cut to it for time. SBD, 55 points. Brian and Steven tied for second, 44. I feel like they're the only anyone that has a 4 in the tens place. They're the only ones I think that have a shot at defeating you, and it's a long shot. Full Tilt Deb in come from behind, from the bottom to the top. She is in, I guess, fourth place if you consider the tied for second thing.
Yeah.
But she's right there. Crayfish is 1 point ahead of me. And then Bobby right behind me. Courtney has pushed Brent back to the bottom. She is above Brent. Brent at 33. I still love that this has been such a wild ride. Other than SBD, and again, I think you'd agree that you're probably surprised at where you got those points from. It may not have been who you thought you were going to get points from, but this has been such a wild ride. I've had so much fun, and it's been great. Yes, Courtney, I think don't you have Kyle Fletcher? Anyways, this was fantastic. I'm excited for Double or Nothing. I'm really curious. Can Steven or Brian or Full Tilt Deb, can anyone topple SBD? Make sure you get the bingo card correct. Get those bingo cards.
I'm going to show a little preview. We'll be posting this this weekend, but it's a little preview of something that came in the mail today. A nice baseball jersey Dynamite download that's going to be rocking at All In 51 days. We're going to be rocking in 51 days. Y'all, thank you for joining us tonight. A fun chat and great talks. A lot of great fun stuff coming. We got our women's tag team title fantasy tournament being launched next week, and we'll see you all Saturday joining us for our bingo card picks. If you can't make it in the chat, definitely send us your picks on Instagram or Twitter. And then we'll get them locked and loaded as we round out the end of season 5 draft for us. So 10 o'clock Saturday night. Saturday night's all right for fighting. Grab a cold one and have some fun. And we're going to talk all things Double or Nothing into Memorial Day weekend.
We'll see you Saturday.
This Saturday at 10 p.m. Can't wait to see you all.
And then we'll saddle up and ride our way to Texas.
I'm your huckleberry.